this YouTube series on watercolor fundamentals. Today is going to be episode number 6, the graded wash. And my name is Ian DeHogue, and I will do my best to walk you through creating this wash. It's a natural extension to the flat wash of episode 5. And what our goal is going to be here is to create a wash that's going to be stronger in value on one side and then lightening as we move away. I'm going to use cobalt blue for my color today. I mean, this wash, you could use it for a lot of things. I'm looking at an awful lot of gray skies lately as we're in the winter months here in BC. So maybe my inclination to go with the cobalt blue is maybe wishful thinking for spring down the road and getting some blue skies. But I mean, cobalt blue is a really nice color for that type of sky. So I'm going to use the cobalt blue. I'm going to be working on a piece of paper that's about 5 by 7. So I have a fair bit of paint mixed up. I got my puddle all set up, and I really only need enough to kind of cover about a half to 2/3 because I'm going to be adding water to this, right? We're going to start with a stronger value, and then we're going to be diluting it. And that's how we're going to start getting a lighter tint as we progress down. A little container of water here. I've got a towel for helping to control moisture in my brush if necessary. And usually it's always going to be necessary. And then I have another brush here. This is a Hake brush. Just to really, I'm going to put some water down on this paper first, just to make this whole process of the graded wash a bit easier. So on that note, I'm going to start with the Hake and going to get it wet. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come across this paper and I'm going to apply water across it. And when I'm applying the water, I am trying to make sure that it's evenly distributed across the paper surface. I don't want it, I don't want any big puddles on the paper. Hairs that seem like they want to join the party. So just kind of trying to get those out now. Okay, so I'll just put that off to the side over here. So if you take a look, and you can see that there's a nice sheen all the way across the paper. And I don't have any water so built up on the paper that it's forming big puddles anywhere. And then what I'm going to do, actually what I'm probably going to do also is I'm just going to run a little bit of water on the back. It will take longer for this to dry after the fact, but it will help it to stay down on my board here. And this board is nothing crazy. It's just a piece of coroplast. So it's plastic surface, hence water resistant. There we go. And that holds that down a little better for me. Then I'm going to take my cobalt blue. Now, it's a little bit stronger than I would use if I was just going to do a flat wash, as far as the value that I would intend. And that's because I do have some water already on the paper, so I have to think about that. I have to think about that there's going to be water here already, so I don't want it to get too strong. And I'm just going to go across the paper. And this is fairly wet, so I have a fair bit of flexibility with the application of this paint, as long as I'm not taking too long. Every time I go in here and adding just a little bit more pigment, it gets just a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. And then I'm tilting the board just a little bit. Now, as I get down to the bottom here, I want this to go pretty much white. So I'm just going to clean my brush. And I'm just going to run that right down to the bottom. And then just making sure that there's not going to be any pool. And that is that. So we have a nice graded wash, starting at the top, going lighter all the way down to the bottom. I could tilt this a little bit more and allow this to come down even further, or I could just leave it like that, which I'm kind of happy with it. You also want to be a little bit careful too. I didn't tape this up on purpose because sometimes if you put tape around the edges, the paint can channel into the edges of the tape. So if you were still intending to, tape your paper down, you could let this dry and then you could tape it. But I like this method, especially even on this side of paper. It's this size of paper. It works out pretty well. But as you can see, it's just a really nice, smooth transition all the way down here to the white of the paper. Now, I noticed a couple of little things. There's some tiny little hairs in there. Honestly, it's not that big a deal if you leave them alone. Once it's dry, you can go back in and get them. I would not recommend trying to go in there now because you'll end up making a mess of your wash. And if you didn't mix the value up strong enough, I wouldn't try going in here and doing anything at this point, right? I would just leave it. Let it dry completely. Back needs to be dry, top needs to be dry. And then you can very carefully glaze a bit of water over top of it and repeat the process. You just have to be very gentle with your brush so that you're not pushing too hard. Otherwise, what can happen is you can go in and actually start shifting the paint underneath. So, I hope this was helpful for you. This is the graded wash. You can do a similar thing with this using the bead method from the flat wash. It is a lot more difficult. You still need to maintain the bead and bring that down slowly, but at the same time, you need to be feeding your puddle with water consistently. So generally, I would want to have 2 containers so that I can kind of keep cleaning my brush. And I would actually start with a lot less paint because I would be adding to it continually. I didn't really need to add too much to this because it faded out quite nicely because of the pre-wetting of the paper. So I'm quite happy with this. Hopefully you like it and hopefully this is of use to you. So thanks for watching. It's always appreciated. If you are enjoying these videos, please do think about subscribing, liking the video, commenting. I always look forward to seeing people's comments. it's great that these are getting watched by so many people, and that it's benefiting people. So until next time, take care and paint on. Bye.